Flood in 2017 had left us with two valuable lessons. The first one, the water level of the flood is beyond our prediction, and the second one, our evacuation center is not really safe anymore.
Ini yang paling teruk sekali.
Tak pernah terjadi macam ini.
Tak pernah jadi, saya percaya.
Ini ya, tahun 2014 dia yang paling besar sekali ni.
Rumah hanyut gapo cucu makcik saya dah. Tak tahu tak gapo satu tak boleh nak dapat.
Can't we do something about this? You know, the climate is changing, so why aren't we?
Amphibious houses float by the same simple physics principles that float the rubber ducky in your bathtub.
Inspired by the possible solution, a 4.6 acreage empty land located in the middle of Kota Baru Islamic Center become a testing ground for this new typology of evacuation center. The next question is, what is the program of this building, as the evacuation center only be needed to the ends of the year? With 95% of Muslim population dominating Kelantan, community mosque is the answer to the question. With the deep understanding on the program and the spaces, the site then carefully crafted with the consideration on the topography, urban fabric, social context, quality of the spaces, cultural element, and also the sustainable features of the building.
It doesn't stop there. I start to think on how to push this project and make the building more sustainable in terms of the functionality. The religious facilities is the general function and the evacuation center is the additional function of the cycle. So what are actually the activities in details that potentially can take place in this overall building? To get the answer for that, a list of 36 activity spectrum with their specific characteristics which may occur in this complex considering the social and also the urban fabric of the site are then mapped out. And then the question pops up, how do we make this possible? Inspiring from that video, I started to sketch out the rough idea on how and what happens if I inject the idea of the transformer and also the resilience architecture into my project. These strategies can be realized by transforming a certain building elements in my initial design and make them much more flexible to cater for most of the activities listed earlier. These transformable elements include the screen, the indoor flooring, and also the outdoor plaza parts. The screen elements consist of the sliding mechanism where the panels are slidable by using the help of 5-way railing track. The location of the slidable screens are located at the surrounding of the praying area. Moving on to the second element, which is the indoor flooring, there are 4 additional elements that layer hidden underneath the finished floor, which are the layer 1, layer 2, layer 3, layer 4, and layer 5. So the floor can be transformed into a partition panels which can be used during an event such as the small group activities like Tilawah Al-Quran. And then during the evacuation period, it can be opened up and become the living cubicle. And then when the water starts to rise, the telescopic guiding pole and the floating foundation start to play its role and make the living cubicle usable during the flood. Outdoor pods apply the same principle with slightly different components. So the component consists of timber paneling, metal sheet roof, plastic flooring, floating foundation, and also the guiding pole. So each layer can be leveled up manually to cater for the possible activities.
So how do we move the layers?
The platform is raised by unlocking the pump jack. Pump slowly with your foot in the stirrup. It's so easy, your weight does all the work.
So the usage of the pump jack will be used to reduce the usage of the energy in moving up the panels. Until the flood occurs, the floating foundation will take into action. How to make the material usage much more sustainable? So being the world's top dump site for plastic waste, recycling plastic should be an advantage to us. The community can contribute to their mosque by giving the recycled plastic which can be reused as the floating mechanism while undergoing certain simple and sustainable process. So besides promoting upcycling, this can also create a sense of belonging to the community as their involvement with the building started from the initial stage of the development. So how does it look when the elements come in handy? There are Kelantan Museum and small tourism center located on the north side of the site. So the cultural events can be sprawling out to the transformable plaza and providing extra community spaces for the event. The next scenario, during the Friday prayer, the plaza can be transformed into a spoke kind of marketplace, serving lunch for the private and government servants working around the Kota Baru. Besides, the marketplace can also be transformed into a linear organization which extends and connects the existing bazaar to the other side, facing the main roundabout to attract the crowd.
For the internal usage, the transformable elements can be transformed to cater for the event which require extra spaces, such as the Ceramah Perdana and also the feasting event. So when the monsoon season hit Kelantan, the pots can be floatable and become a safe place for the affected community. Next, these are the perspective view of the overall building during the normal period and how it's going to look like when the flood happened and the spaces indoor and outdoor transform.
Together we can transform the lives of people in flood zones from living in fear to living in harmony